So after struggling for a couple years when we homeschooled in the US of not having any local family for support and not having a connection with the large community, we were really close with one family in our community. We moved to Australia. When I landed at the Melbourne airport, my immediate mindset was to connect with the local community and start building those friendships. And before we had moved, once my husband had a job here, he had come over ahead of us, I had joined all of the homeschool groups that I could find that seemed to be based about within an hour's drive of where he worked. And I was looking for a community that was vibrant on their Facebook group, that they were having a substantial number of posts on a regular basis, and that people were really engaging with those posts. And what I was looking for was a vibrant community that was active and where people were actually forming friendships. And I found what I was looking for in Northwest Melbourne. So that's where we moved to. And immediately my daughter and I started attending the park meets and introducing ourselves around. She was 7 years old at the time, so I didn't have to go push her on the swings. There was a developmental stage there that she had gone through where I was no longer needed on the playground for her to have a good time on the playground. She didn't need me to push her on the swings. She didn't need me to help her do any climbing. She had attained that level of independence, which freed me up. I was still keeping an eye on where she was and what was happening, but it freed me up to really engage in the conversations. And it's a significant milestone in our children's development. So I was watching who she was playing with and who she was enjoying, and then tracking down who their moms were and introducing myself to them and just making those connections. And this went on for, in that kind of a mode for at least 6 months or so, till around the beginning of 2018. And well, backing up a little bit, one of the things that was really funny was we both enjoyed going to these park days. And for those of you that are new to homeschooling and you're not familiar with the term park day, it's the low bar activity for homeschooling families to go to. And low bar means that there's usually no admittance fee and the times aren't critical. So a time is going to be blocked out that park day is going to go from 10 to 3, but you can show up at 12, you can leave at 1. It's really free that way. So there's no expected commitment to the time slot, and there's no limit on the numbers or anything. So it's just an easy way to go out, be social, and meet new people. And so my daughter and I were going, and it was great. We were meeting lots of new people. We had new friends, and a real eye-opener to me was after we'd gone along for a while, she started on the day following park day saying, "Mom, can we invite our new friends over?" And this was like at 10 o'clock in the morning. "Can we invite our new friends over this afternoon?" And I'm like, no. She still had more need for being with her friends than what we were getting out of the one park day a meet. So we started increasing how often we were going out. And we increased it and we increased it until we were out literally 5 days each week. Usually at something as casual as a park day, but it could have been an IMAX movie or some other type of casual meetup. It wasn't that we didn't do co-ops and we didn't do lessons per se. It was more of just some kind of a casual meetup with a play attached or a one-off meetup. So we did 5 days a week for, it wasn't a long time, it was only like 2 or 3 weeks, until the day that she said to me, "Mom, can't we just stay home today?" And I said, "Yes, we have reached saturation point." But I knew at that point that we could back off how often we were going out, how regularly we were going out. And we were looking for that sweet spot that we were getting out enough for her and my social needs to be met without either of us feeling overwhelmed or lonely or burned out. And so we backed it down to probably 2 or 3 days a week, but they're not always the exact same days. We have different events on different times. But yeah, it was finding that sweet spot where we were both comfortable. So moving into 2018, we were still enjoying our park days and our meetups and everything like that. But quite honestly, we were a little tired of always packing our bags and heading out. And so we decided to open up our home on Fridays and offer Games Day to the community. And we posted it in the Facebook group that the entire community of 350 people were invited to our house on Fridays. We never had that many show up. We would range between 1 and 7 families that would come, but it was every Friday, and it was so lovely having our friends come into our home, and it changed the conversation a little bit in that the conversations went a little bit deeper, they were a little bit more personal, and we were able to get to know our friends, from my perspective, even better, and to really start to establish the ones that we had shared values and interests with. And it was really casual. We called it Games Day, and there was a theme of playing board games and things like that. And sometimes the kids would get board games out and play them, and other times they would just go in free play. And it was the same with us moms. Sometimes we would get a board game out to play, and other times it was just to have a cuppa and a chat, or a therapy session. Whatever was needed. Sometimes we would have someone show up who needed some support or had some questions, and other times it was just very relaxed. I even had one time a mom showed up, and she was just at that point. She says, I'm just tired. Can I go and just lay down? And I'm like, sure. And so I showed her to my room and to the bed, and I got her a light blanket, and she just laid down and rested and took a little nap because it was what she needed. And I was happy to offer her that. I mean, it was no problem. Her kids, she knew they were safe. The yard was fenced in, and she knew that they were safe and looked after while she was resting. So it was, and I felt privileged that she felt comfortable asking me for that. So yeah, if those opportunities come up and we can do that for each other, why not? You know, life's too short to be fussy. So the Games Day was going along, and it went beautifully, and it went for all of 2018 and into 2019. But about 6 months in, and this sounds like I had it all very plotted out and planned on a schedule. I didn't. It was just what felt natural in how friendships develop. But about 6 months in, there was 3 or 4 families that I was starting to feel a connection with, and I was like, yeah, these could be really good friends. But there was 2 things that I wasn't sure about, and that I wondered what would happen is, did they feel these connections with each other, and what about the dads? Because so far it had always been the moms with the kids. So there needed to be a way of bringing together these multiple families, and including the dads. And ta-da! That's when my husband and I started hosting about every other month a family barbecue, where not a family barbecue, but just a barbecue with our friends, where they would all come to our house, or sometimes we did it at a nearby park that was right in our neighborhood. And it was lovely, and we just kind of watched like who connected with who, and did it work or didn't it work. And again, it sounds like it was all very analytical and taking notes, and it wasn't. It was just very natural how it happened. So that started to happen, and that was lovely. And so we went along with that. We finished out 2018, we went into 2019. And the tribe was starting to come together, and life was going really, really well until it wasn't, and I had to end hosting Games Day for various reasons. And now my daughter and I had this gaping hole in our schedule, because this was a major way that we ended the week, and what were we going to do? So as fate would have it, the opportunity to attend somebody else's baking day came up. And this was another family that we had felt a connection with. And her daughter's interest was to bake with friends. And so they opened up their house once a week. It wasn't on a Friday, but it was a different day, for families to come to their house, for the kids to have an opportunity to bake. And we started going, and this is really what solidified our tribe for us, because what happened is that there were 4 or 5 families that went each week, and at each baking session, the kids would do some baking, then they would go out, or we would have lunches that we had brought with us, until we caught on to having the kids bake lunch. So then we didn't have to pack lunch anymore. But the kids would do the baking, we'd have lunch, they would go out for a play, and the moms would all have a cuppa and sit and have a chat or therapy session, or we could call it therapy, if you will. And it was wonderful, and because it was the same 4 or 5 families each week, all year long, we were solid. We went all through 2019 this way. And oh my gosh, we were a tribe by the end. And it's that regularity. It's when you find those people, it's seeing them regularly and consistently and just locking in that we feel a connection, that we have shared values and shared interests. And so that's what did it for us. Now, coming about mid-year in 2019, my husband and I, we'd been doing those barbecues with just our friends, and we decided to expand that to the entire homeschooling community. And we started organizing and hosting a family community picnic. And this was monthly on a Sunday afternoon. And it was, everybody would bring food for their family and or to share. And then we would organize some kind of a large group activity like a scavenger hunt, or we had Halloween costumes. When there were themes, it went better, is what we noticed. And just spend 4 or 5 hours at the park, and then the kids would have a play and the parents would have a therapy session, a chat and a cuppa. And it was just really great. It was really great to include the dads. Typically we had the moms coming during the homeschooling stuff and then the dads joining us on the weekends. It doesn't have to be that way. The dads can be the primary at home. I'm just speaking in generalities. So it was really great to have both of the whole family at these events, and families getting to know families. And it was something that we got a lot of positive feedback from community members about. So that started up in 2019 also. So yeah, so that's how we finished out 2019, with the community picnics and the baking day and all that. And we come around to 2020 and things are really rocking and rolling, and the moms all meet up to start planning out how 2020 is going to go, and boom, we're in lockdown. And here in Victoria, we were in a hard lockdown. And all of a sudden, all those opportunities went away. But what was really great was that because we had done the work through 18 and 19, we had a tribe to help sustain us through all these lockdowns in 2020. And it was good. It was really good. We did some online meetups. We did some games online like charades and hangman and Pictionary. And we did, we had also started a book club, and we moved the book club online. So we got through 2020 in just the regular chats with my friends, whether it was a phone call and it was one-on-one, or whether we did a group chat. It was just good having those resources, those friendships that to turn to and go, oh my gosh, it's so hard. And they're going, I know, I'm right there with you, but you know, we're gonna get through this and we're gonna get through it together. So that was really, really good. And then we're into 2021 and it's all coming back around again, and the tribe is still intact, and we're getting ready to go again. So not including 2020, because it's the year that didn't happen, it took me about 2.5 years to go from zero, absolute zero, to being well connected in the community and having a tribe of friends. And so that can seem like a lifetime, but it wasn't. And that time that I put into that, that my daughter put into that, has paid off in spades for us. It is so worth it, because when you've got friends, it makes homeschooling 1,000 times easier and more fun. So if you're new to homeschooling, and even if you're not, but if you're looking for friends, put that time into building those friendships. Find those friends. If they're online, they're online. If they're in person, that's great. Do what you need to do to build those connections, because that's what homeschooling is about. Homeschooling is not school at home. We're not meant to be at home isolated poring over textbooks. We're meant to be out having fun and doing life. And when we can do it with friends, it's just so much better. What I want you to take away from today's video is that making friends is work. It is. And sometimes it's really hard work, but it is so worth it. And I encourage you to take the time to do it. And I'm always here. So if there's anything that I can answer for you or suggest to you or offer to you, please feel free to leave me a comment below or send me a message, and I will get back to you on that. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.